Hello! Happy New Year again!
Hello, Happy New Year.
¿Cuántas veces hay que decir Happy New Year?
I know,
El mes
right?
entero, ¿no?
I know, yeah, I guess.
Usually
like for the month of January. You know when? Until you stop writing 2023 on everything you write. Once you start actually writing 2024,
that could take a while.
That's where you could like lay loose with, like
let it go.
let it go.
Let it go.
Yeah.
All right. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hello.
We're back.
Welcome back to SpectrumMamis. How is everyone? How are you?
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
You good?
Yeah.
Me too.
You?
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
The familia.
Good. Good. We have a show for you. It's about how our kiddos can be taken advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a topic that we all struggle with in our minds.
Right.
From when they're small to even when they're older.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna talk about ¿cómo se llama esta mujer? Gypsy Rose.
Yeah, Gypsy Rose Blanchard. She's all over the place right now.
She's hot.
Yeah.
She's hot, but we're gonna talk a little bit about that and about other things that we've heard.
Mm-hmm.
And it can get a little tricky, and unfortunately, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens more than we hear or get to know.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. But before we do that, do you have anything going on? Any stories? We haven't seen each other for a few days, but
no. Chloe has a pimple.
Oh my god!
I know.
Oh my god! She has a pimple.
She has a pimple. She's 10.
How's she dealing with it? She's alright?
fine. I tell her I need to pop that thing, and she goes, like, she doesn't want to get, like, for it to go. And that's another cute thing. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this on camera, but Justin, he's 18, so he gets little zits and stuff, and he gets them a lot. He gets a lot of them on his back, and some of them look uncomfortable sometimes, where you really want to pop it because
you're like, can I get that?
Like, it has to hurt. It has to be uncomfortable. So we want to make sure. People. Yeah, most people do. It's like a.
Have you seen those videos?
Yeah.
There's some that are really disgusting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's actually toys that are like resembling you, like popping pimples. For real, it's crazy. I'm gonna buy you one of those. Yeah, there's even, and then there's that like Dr. Pimple Popper. I think is another one.
Y cuando sale eso,
Yeah. Who is it? My daughter Chloe, she calls it my God, what's that word that she uses all the time? Not soothing, and it's not therapeutic. It's, oh my God. Anyway, I don't remember. But she, like, it's not soothing. It's not therapeutic. Satisfying. She goes, it's so satisfying.
Oh.
Yeah. But
satisfying.
Yeah. But
I'm a little scared.
But so she'll do that with, like, she's playing with like a fidget or something. She'll say something like that. But anyway, she so Justin, whenever dad can't like help himself. When he sees a pimple that looks like it might be really uncomfortable, and then Justin goes, like, he goes like that, and he goes, and I go to him, tell him no. Like, I tell him, defend yourself, like, tell dad no. And he goes, no popping pimple. So he's so cute. He goes, no popping pimple.
A veces Ángel me deja, pero otras veces no.
And then
me hace así, porque he gets like como unos whiteheads, pero que se le llenan bastante aquí.
Oh.
Y cuando yo lo veo y él yo le hago así y me hace. He's like,
no.
I'm like, why not? Not now, mommy. Not now.
Pobrecito. That's uncomfortable. Like, and the thing is, like, put yourself in like would you want somebody to just come up to you and be like,
I know, right?
Like, it's weird.
I know.
But yeah, so dad does it all the time, and Justin goes, no popping pimple. And then Chloe covered it, and she's like, no, you're not, and then she goes to me in the car, no popping people.
No!
Just like how Justin says.
Ay, qué linda.
But yeah, we're there. We're there. They're starting to come out
You're almost there.
every so often, and yeah.
The teenage
Oh
years.
yeah. And that one is
If you think
she's
that
a really good girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's also my daughter, number one. And number two, she's a Gemini. You know, like dad looks at her.
Mira serio.
And that's my we understand each other.
Yeah.
Dad like looks at her and he's like, my God, she's so much like you. She's so much like you. I remember when I was pregnant and I got my due date, and it was like, I think it was, she was born June 1st, but I think my due date was like June 4th or something like that. And he was like, oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah, boy. But she's a really good girl, but yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's
She is, pero
it's tough parenting yourself. Like parenting your own it's not easy when you have
it's not. It's not. But not only that, they and I don't want to say they because we went through it, I guess.
Yeah, we are.
But they can change a lot.
Yeah, during those years.
Oh my God, and they can seem forever.
Yeah.
Those years can seem, it's like, ay, Dios mío. Cada vez que Sergio empieza con una de esas cosas que le dan, it's like, Dios mío, ¿cuánto te queda?
We talk about this all the time, and about how, like, remember how we were talking about in another video about how the joke, the messed up joke about how your kids are teenagers around the time you're also going through your menopausal changes.
Hell yes.
Like, how does that?
Yeah, we talked about that.
That's like messed
before.
up.
Yeah, it
that
is.
all those things happen usually around the same time.
Y da la casualidad.
Mm-hmm. Like
Yeah.
for you, it was really like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that.
That's crazy.
So it's like, oh my God, fireworks
Yeah.
for real.
Like, we don't need this right now.
For real. You know what happened the other day? I was scrolling through social media.
Right.
And I went into the SpectrumMamis,
Mm-hmm.
and Angel sits next to me. So we're scrolling together and whatever, and then he goes, "Oh wait!" And then I did a reel about what was it? Now I'm like blanking out. People, menopause, the shit, it ain't right.
It's like mom brain, or like pregnancy brain, and
it's pregnancy brain. It's puberty. Is all wrapped into one.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like it's crazy. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, he tells me, wait, because I did a reel about today I woke up feeling like garbage.
oh yeah, I remember
For
that one.
anyone that, you know,
I remember that
wants
one,
to know what garbage means,
Uh-huh.
is French for trash.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
Okay. So I did that,
Yeah.
and then he looks, and I kind of labeled it French lessons or something like that.
Right.
So when he sees that, he goes, "Oh no, mommy, wait!" And he, you know, yo estoy mirándolo y él coge y viene hace así.
Yeah.
Y cuando él lo oye y dice, me dijo algo, no sé, una palabra,
Mm-hmm.
pero en French. And I went like that and I go, is that what garbage means in French? He goes, oh yeah, mommy. And then I'm like, nah.
Like, how does he?
I'm like, nah.
Yeah, you have to research it.
He's messing with me.
Yeah.
I had to research. So cojo y hago así and I go, really? Espérate. Y cogí en el mismo teléfono, me salgo de ahí, and I look for it. But it's not the same, right? It was something else.
Right.
And then I put it to say it out loud, and it was totally different. And I go, that's not it. He goes, Mom, you said trash.
Oh wow! So it wasn't garbage; it was trash. So did you then look at to see if it was?
I did.
And it was that. That's crazy. That's like how he memorizes the year that the DVDs were released.
Yes.
And all that other craziness, like the stuff that we were like,
Yes.
that I know his therapist has been like, I have to research this, or I have to
Yes.
look at this. That's amazing. It's kiddo.
And I just stared at him. I'm like, damn.
Wow.
But that was out of nowhere. Like
Yes.
like if he loves to learn different languages.
Yeah.
And he loves watching. He changes the languages and he replays them and kind of like learns.
I wonder,
but that's a very specific word.
Yeah, like that he would learn that one specific word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like I've already known a few kids on the spectrum that have done stuff like this. I remember we used to have a kiddo in the place that we worked at together many years ago that used to watch videos only in different languages.
See?
He used to say Hakuna Matata en español, and like it didn't matter what, like different languages.
I remember.
Yeah, she's a friend of ours and mom, and like, so I have to wonder if that's like a thing.
Yeah.
You know. But he likes to learn. He's interested in that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's so cool.
So trash.
Yeah, trash. So that's
amazing. It wasn't garbage. It was trash. So
that's amazing. That's cute. One thing that we wanted to say is, if you haven't already watched our videos, please do so. We've got some good ones.
Please.
Thank you. Like, comment, share. Yeah.
All that good stuff.
Actually, our last few videos were good ones and informative, and our next one, in my opinion, is gonna probably be one of our best. Just because it's gonna really help a lot of families that are dealing with certain issues with, it's gonna be specifically on SSI, or Social Security
benefits.
Social Security benefits, sorry. But yes, our last video that aired last week was on guardianship, which is just very, very important, and we recommend that everybody watches, especially if you have a kid with special needs. And I believe the one probably right before that, I think it was right before that, was the one with
Piajas.
Yes.
Was back in November. Mm-hmm. And it's a project that they're doing for women survivors of
breast cancer.
So that was very good. And also we did the Creative Minds.
Yes. Which is an ABA company based here in South Florida. And that was also a really nice one, and that's some good information.
Yeah. So if you haven't checked us out,
please do so.
Please do so.
And stay tuned for our 2024, I guess.
Yeah, we're coming back full swing.
Yeah, we're trying to come back full swing with interesting topics.
Yeah. And information that everybody needs.
Yes.
All of us need. Yeah. So, and all special needs all across the board. So.
Right.
Entonces, ¿cómo empezamos esto? Porque this to me, it's something that we all think about.
We do. And I think also, like, depending on your specific child, I think, if I'm being honest, so our children are very different, right?
Yes.
I worry about this more for you than I do for me.
Yes.
That is a legit worry.
And what she's saying,
right?
I understand exactly what she's saying.
Yes.
Right? And what she's saying, because people will be like, really?
What does that mean? What does that mean? So let's clarify.
Right. So what she means is that Justin, her son, is nonverbal, needs a lot of care.
His level of support. He's what now is considered. So back when we were, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, back when he was diagnosed, they just called it autism or classic autism, or in like one of the specific reports I think said severe autism. Now, if you get diagnosed with, if he were to be diagnosed today, what they would most likely put, based on the DSM-5 diagnostic criteria, what he would be diagnosed with would be autism level 4, which is commonly known as classic autism or severe autism back in the day. Yeah.
So
with that said,
he needs somebody with him constantly.
Right.
He cannot be left alone, not even for 5 minutes, right? So Angel is a little bit different. And Angel's working into, hopefully, in the future,
independent, living and
exactly
working on lots of life skills, and and being able to, you know, reach that, like, his maximum capabilities. But yeah,
although he's never really gone alone anywhere, or you know, he's never really alone either. But it's a different setting for him. It's a different way of seeing things and being out in the community, right? So it's very, and he's very él no tiene malicia. No tiene esa malicia, no tiene, I don't even know how to say it in English. I mean,
like malice is actually the word, I guess.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that.
Like anybody can come to him. He actually approaches people and says, hello, what is your name? You know, hi, I'm Angel and this is my mom, Ide. You know, he'll do stuff like that out in Target.
Yeah.
You know, en cualquier sitio. So that's why she's saying that she worries more about Angel than with Justin. Because Justin is really not out in the community. Is really not out, won't be alone. Somebody constantly has to be with him. So that's
and
why,
then just like they wouldn't be able to take advantage of him in the way of like manipulating him into doing certain things or
because
something like that. Because he wouldn't even understand what that is, or you know, so that would not be a possibility. You know.
Let me give you an example. There was a kid. There were some kids that were selling drugs and doing stuff or whatever. This is a story that another mom posted, and that to me broke my heart. They were selling drugs and they were using him to do certain things, you know, with the drugs, and even actually telling him, hey, you know, take this to...
Well, first because they didn't care.
No.
They didn't care that they were putting him, you know,
in danger,
and that possibly even be like arrested or whatever. They were using him, but they were also probably using him as a decoy because they're not gonna suspect from the special needs kid.
Exactly. So then apparently they got caught, something happened, no sé. But the detail of it, I don't have the exact details, but towards the end, when they ask him, they figure out, okay, they're using him as a, you know, decoy and everything else. They figure that out. And when they actually asked him, what do you know what you were selling? And no, what they gave me. Why were you selling it? And his answer was to buy popcorn because
he loves
that
popcorn.
Kid loves popcorn. So that to me me estrujó el corazón. I was like, ay Dios mío.
He may or may, and it depends. Some kids may understand that it's wrong to sell that stuff, but he really wanted the popcorn, so that was easy for him to make that decision because he really wanted the popcorn. But some kids may not understand that that's wrong. They just know that they wanted the popcorn.
Yeah, I feel like what people don't understand with autism, even with high functioning kids, that even though you see them that they understand and they do things, and even this kid, it's almost like the common sense of certain things. They might be cognitive, that they can, you know, do certain things and answer back and this and that, you know, they may be fine. But with specific issues like this, that little common sense is completely lacking. Because that's exactly what happened with this kid. To him, probably, okay, don't tell anybody or this and that or whatever. Tú sabes, le hicieron un... Ay, a mí me da una cosa.
I know.
Nada más de pensar eso is like, and you think you're leaving your kid, oh, ve a casa fulanito. No, they're good kids. Sí, está bien. So, imagínate. Pero bueno. So, Gypsy Rose. I don't even know how to start this.
Yeah. Gypsy Rose is Gypsy Rose Blanchard. She's all over the place right now. If you have not heard her name, you will.
She has become famous.
She's suddenly an overnight, I guess, celebrity.
Bueno, ya venían desde
I mean,
hace
yeah.
rato.
So I remember when I didn't know about the case, but I've heard of it. And so now we've been doing a little more research on it with everything that's come out. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is, I believe she was 19 at the time. It was about a little over 8 years ago, I believe.
She served 7 years.
Right. So she served 7 years. She was actually sentenced to 10 years. She served 7 years for plotting the murder of her mother. Her mother was known as Dee Dee Blanchard. There is several documentaries and docuseries. There's actually, I think, even a movie that's going to come out. I believe there's a documentary on Hulu. And so I just recently heard yesterday.
I haven't seen any of them.
Gypsy was released from prison last week. And from what I'm being told, she's already worth like 2.5 million or something like that. She came out of prison.
No, pero también. She had, I don't know how many followers, like 6 million.
Yeah, she's got like a huge presence on social media. Yes. She had, according to her, over 250 men messaging her and sending her letters throughout the 7 years she was in prison, because apparently people were very attracted to her. Yo digo que siempre hay un loco, pero in this case there was 250 of them. But either way, no había uno, there was 250 of them. Per her words, there was about 250 men approaching her. Yeah. During the time that she was in prison, I think she was engaged once or twice to people who used to write to one exactly who that relationship ended up, and then she ended up actually marrying while in prison, and her and her husband are traveling all over the world doing press conferences. Apparently there's going to be, I think,
Good Morning.
She's been everywhere. America. She's been on
Good Morning America.
Yeah. She's been on The View, which I would never watch that unless they paid me. But she's been on The View. She's been on Good Morning America. She's been like all over the place. I don't even know what shows, but she's really present now on social media too.
Y también podcasts.
Access Hollywood podcasts. She's been like
all over the place.
All over the place.
All over the place.
I don't know now. For those who haven't heard of the case or don't know, Gypsy was subjected to abuse her entire life.
Yes.
By her mother, who was mentally ill. You know, I always say she was mentally ill, but she was able to like estafar everybody. She was able to estafar everybody. She wasn't all that mentally ill for feeding off the government and feeding off the system and beating the system and getting people to pay her way through everything. For that, she wasn't very mentally ill. No. She was able to, scam people out of things and would use her daughter as bait, pretty much, in the sense that, and then this was probably brought on by her diagnosis of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. So basically, she made everybody believe that her daughter was very sick and had all types of like different diagnoses.
To me, por eso que I don't know how to approach this, and I don't even know how to, because there's so many wrongs with this whole story. Right? Beginning with that. People I have seen, and this is not from now, it's from before. I have seen people comment about that's like a bullshit diagnosis. But it happens, people. Okay?
Right.
And
oh my god, I've seen so many cases of it, like all these like detective shows and stuff like that. Like they're real cases that they just do like a dramatization of it, but they're real cases.
Right.
So I mean,
yeah, and she would she beat the system over and over and over, and not only that, she had her in a wheelchair. She had her que si tenía leukemia and cancer.
A whole bunch of stuff. She pulled all her teeth out. She found a dentist that would...
to me...
Or I don't know if she did it herself. I don't know. But she would do all this to gain money, to gain recognition, to get people to feel bad for her. These people feed off the... like, I guess the compassion of other people and feed... So they need to feel that.
Yes.
But
they use their child.
Yeah. So they use their child to do that. So not only, and the worst part, because I've seen cases.
And she got money. She got from the.
I think they gave her a house. I think they gave her a house.
I think so.
From one of those, because she apparently, if I'm not mistaken, she lost her house, or she said, I don't know if that's even true. She lost her house, I think, during Katrina, during a hurricane, and moved to another state or another town, and then that town really took her in.
And not only that,
and build her house.
Not only that, when she did that, I saw one of the interviews que aprovechó y cuando llegó al otro town, I don't have medical records, or Katrina took it, whatever, que no sé qué. Y ahí empezó con otro diagnosis, porque era diagnosis after diagnosis after diagnosis. Cancer, leukemia, she had her in a wheelchair. Gypsy said at one point, "But Mama, I can't walk." No, you're too weak. Because not only do they feed off of people that, oh my God, the compassion, pobrecita, she's a single mom, and look at her daughter so sick, but also she manipulated her daughter to believe that she had all these conditions. At one point, also had a feeding tube que ahí aprovechó to put in medications and all that stuff.
That's another thing that I was gonna touch on. That when you see cases of this condition, mental health condition, you see a lot of them where they cause bodily harm to their child, or you see a lot of them where they want people to believe that their child is very sick, but not in all cases do they actually make their child sick to that magnitude. She did some real bad stuff. She gave her, besides having her teeth pulled and having like all these medical procedures done that she didn't need on her, she also gave her medications that would make her very sick. Because I mean, let's be real, if you're not a diabetic, you're not supposed to take, just to say anything, you're not supposed to take diabetes, insulin. So she would give her these like toxic medications that were for diagnoses that she didn't have. And coincidentally, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, she wasn't dumb. That was definitely not a problem she had. She wasn't dumb. She did enough research where she knew that particular medication would cause a side effect that was the side effect she was looking for, because it would fit the diagnosis that she was trying to make her daughter appear to have.
And also, some of the medication, that's why I believe, for what I understood, that's how she ended up having the dentist pull all her teeth.
Right.
Because it was rotting.
Because the medication, taking that medication would rot your teeth. So she was able to justify getting her teeth removed. And for a long time.
But then she said that the teeth were getting like that because of the cancer.
Because of the medical condition that she had. But it wasn't because of that. It was because of the stuff she was giving her that she didn't need that was rotting her teeth. And that's, I guess, how she convinced somebody to do it.
And not feeling well or whatever, she would say, but I can walk. And no, but look how weak you are. And you can't, because you will take 2 steps and fall.
Right.
So it was a whole mind manipulation. Es que era una cosa horrible.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm still kind of learning a little bit about the case. If I'm not mistaken, she actually... So Gypsy believed for a very long time the lies. She believed that she really was sick. Because...
Bueno, sí. Es que empezó desde baby.
Right. And so she believed a lot of these things because this is my mother. And my mother would not harm me. So it got to the point where Gypsy started realizing, she got older. and she started realizing things that they weren't as they seemed. And I don't know exactly, because I know that there's docuseries and stuff. I haven't watched them. But if I'm not mistaken, she actually got to the point where she was starting to rebel against her mom when she started realizing that...
I saw little bits and pieces of a podcast that did a whole thing with her. And then they brought in the husband y que no sé qué.
Right.
Bueno, ahí ella dice que she tried to run away at some point. But... you know, she got her back, got her back in the house y las encerró in the 3 days or no sé cuántos días.
Right, so apparently, so that started happening as she got older and she realized that something was wrong and that this was all a lie. And she started realizing what was going on. That's when she started not only rebelling, but that she tried to run away and she tried to... So once that happened... That's when the other abuse started. Yeah.
Sorry.
She was homeschooled.
She was homeschooled.
Right.
And her circle was very small.
Right.
She couldn't be having like friends over or this or that. Everything was like she la tenía vigilada constantemente. You know, it was.
Yeah. It wasn't until she started realizing it that it was all a lie, and she started catching on, and she got older and started rebelling. Was that mom then, when she would, because she was terrified of being discovered, that's when she started tying her to the bed and making sure that her circle was even smaller and making sure that she wasn't, I saw something yesterday, and I don't know, again, I have to be honest, I don't believe a lot of what Gypsy says. So I don't know exactly, because there's definitely a lot of issues there. But I think mom would tie like a dog leash to her, and then she was tied up to mom, and they would sleep in the same bed, so that if Gypsy would try to move, mom would wake up. And she even in turn had a knife on her nightstand that if you try to move, and at one point she had her like punished, tied to the bed. Like a lot of other abuse started happening after she realized.
I don't doubt that. The emotional and the physical and all of that stuff was happening. Yeah. Now, whether to the extent of, all those things,
we don't know. And we'll never, and the thing is, like, we'll never know, but I'm having a hard time. I do believe that Gypsy is extremely disturbed. And yes, perhaps being released was a good thing. She probably shouldn't be in prison for what happened to her, but at the same time, she shouldn't be out either. And that's just, and then we're not even getting into the other stuff. I think that she really needs some intense.
I feel torn.
Yeah.
I because yes, but and let me.
We gotta actually go into the other part of that.
Sí, pero espérate.
Into the other part of that.
Let me ask 2 questions.
Yeah.
Okay, because that... Okay, so she's getting older. She's realizing. There are other ways to get out of that situation. Right? Yes. She was intimidated to not tell anyone, but then she went ahead and got a boyfriend.
Right.
Into the mix to kill her.
And who does she pick? Someone that's vulnerable. Someone that would fall in love with her and do as she pleased, and that didn't have the cognitive ability to understand or to fully grasp the severity of what was happening and what. She just didn't look for somebody else.
No.
She knew to get the weakest link.
And the reason we're saying this, and the reason we're talking about this all around, is that Nicholas, the guy that she got, to kill her mother, he's in the spectrum, but he's a higher functioning autistic person, I guess. with this whole diagnosis and all that stuff.
Right.
But just to make it clear for you guys, yes, he was functioning, but he has the diagnosis. We're gonna get to that for a second.
Yeah.
In a second. But one thing, another question I have is that where was Dad? Because I saw little bits and pieces because I wasn't able to. I want to be able to see that interview fully because I saw the other interview and we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But stepmom, stepsister, dad, and nobody figured this out. And nobody knew about this.
Yeah, the whole thing
for
is
so
really
many
weird.
years.
Like she'd had stepsisters and
Yes,
but I don't think she had any. I think they live in the same state. I think they lived away from each other.
She moved around a lot.
Right. Well,
Obviously, because
you have to.
you have to with stuff like this.
Right.
Pero, I mean, you don't talk to the child. You don't.
I don't understand.
And another question I have. How did this woman get all these doctors to do as she pleased?
I think.
How can you get a cancer diagnosis without cancer?
Well, she might have not had an actual cancer diagnosis. I think that she might have. I think with that, she just might have lied to people about the diagnosis. I don't think she actually got the diagnosis.
Lisette, but hello, she even went through Make-A-Wish Foundation.
I listen, there's so many questions that I have about this case that I don't.
She went through Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah.
They got to go no sé dónde, otro sitio. She got money. She got donations. She got ¿qué?
It's just insane.
Ahora, the teeth are rotting. The dentist didn't figure out why.
Well, no. I mean, see, the thing with the teeth, because I thought that too. And honestly, at the end of the day, after this whole debacle, I'm thinking, should there be also more people being held accountable for?
Yes.
Maybe not obviously for the death of, not for the death of the mother or anything to do with your diagnosis, but for the neglect and for the neglect on the actual child. Like they failed to. A lot of people failed Gypsy.
Yes. 100%.
Really fell through the cracks, and she was failed by the system.
Pero espérate, okay. Yes, you could hide stuff. You could, lo que sea. Pero they weren't doing blood work on her.
I don't know.
Because
I don't know.
For any surgery, you have to have a certain
I mean, you need workup, and you need to be able to go through
because she even has surgery.
Clearance and
no sé qué cosa was removed, and she had a surgery, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Nobody suspected. Nobody did blood work. Nobody saw. Hey, pero why are these levels? Because whenever you're not doing, your body is out of whack, blood work is pretty much gonna tell you something here or there.
Yeah.
Some way, somehow.
Nobody
questioned
I feel
her?
like this case is such a sad case all around. I think that
I feel for Gypsy.
Yeah, no, I do too. She was subjected to abuse and trauma her entire life, and she still 100% needs major psychological help.
Yes.
In my opinion, Gypsy should have not been in prison sentenced for 10 years. She probably needed to be in a facility. She probably needed to be in some kind of mental facility and rehab. Lots of therapy. We're not doctors, but I don't know that being sentenced to 10 years in prison. But then that goes too with the other thing. The person that she manipulated, because there was no other word to, she was the person she manipulated into killing her mother for her. The only thing Gypsy didn't do was she wasn't the one that stabbed her. But she provided the knife. Everything else was Gypsy's planning. Everybody knows this. She just didn't do the actual stabbing. Now,
yeah,
that, I don't know.
Okay, so we already talked about her life and the struggles and all that stuff, and I feel for her.
I do too.
Again, I will say it again and again and again. I feel for her because no child should have that kind of life.
Absolutely
none.
Do I believe that she should be a sudden celebrity, be out of prison and no regard for anything, and be now living her best life? And she came out of prison with like a $2,000 handbag. Like she is like an overnight sensation. She's been on every, like we said, she's been on every like talk show under the sun. She's a celebrity overnight. You're glorifying murder. Like, yes. I don't understand.
Yes.
How.
Okay, so then
I don't know.
This, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
You were basically abused and tortured all your life.
Right.
Now she gets older, and she meets Nicholas online.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever they were saying, when I was listening, is that she would wait at some point. She would wait for the mom to fall asleep because, again, the mom was not all there.
Right.
I mean, was pretty clever, but was not all there. Right? So she would take sleeping pills. Or even medication that they prescribed to Gypsy. She would be like, here you go and here you go kind of deal, right? But mainly to sleep. So she will knock out. So she said that she will get up, right? Apparently not the times that she was tied up, right?
Right.
And she would go in the computer, and that's how she started learning about other things and all that stuff, right? And then, I don't know how, where, when, I don't know exactly, but met this guy online, and they fell in love. And then at one point, she's talking to him about, their love and all this stuff and all this. And he tells her, I would do anything for you.
Ding, 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 ding.
Exactly.
Ahí fue donde se le prendió el bombillo.
And she said, and what follows is what is really disturbing. And apparently they had talked about what was going on.
Right.
And he knew more or less what was going on. So the next thing that she says after he says that is, even killing my mother. And he said, yes. After that, there was a whole they planned it.
Yeah, it was premeditated, and she premeditated it. She just didn't carry it out.
Right.
She was the one that premeditated.
So,
she was the mastermind.
He lived in another town.
Right.
He came over, and she tried to introduce them, but mom wouldn't have it.
Right. Well, because mom's whole master plan was going to fall.
It's going to.
It wasn't convenient for
exactly.
her to ever have anybody in her life.
Exactly.
Right.
So then he goes back. They plan some more. And he comes back. When he comes back, calladito, the whole thing, la mamá durmiendo, she let him in, and, what did she do? She gave him the knife, and she went into the bathroom.
Right.
And locked herself in the bathroom. Okay? They even had a code word. Because if things didn't go well with mom and she was still alive, okay, they needed a code word for her to know it was safe to come out or to stay inside.
Right.
Into the bathroom.
Right.
Look how far out they...
It was,
After that, he went off on the woman. La mató, right? And they cleaned up. They tried to clean up somewhat the area. And she was putting away stuff, and she was throwing out stuff and all this stuff. And then she leaves with him.
Right.
When they finally find the woman, they don't see Gypsy.
Yeah, so they think that mom's been murdered and Gypsy's been abducted.
Exactly. And then everything unravels after that, right?
Right.
So, to me, I feel like she was manipulated all her life. She was abused all her life. And she basically, to a point, did the same thing with Nick.
Yeah.
With Nicholas.
Yeah.
There's no... And then, when all of this happens, they figure out finally what happened, who did this, who did that. She gets 10 years in prison and he gets life. He's still in prison. He's gonna stay in prison.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And one of the interviews, the one of the podcast that I didn't finish, they ask her about him. And she's like, I wish him well. I mean, he did what he did. And, I mean, we all have remorse. And, but I wish him well and just, you know, I'm living my life. I'm like, mira que bien.
Yeah.
Mira que bien. We go back to that component of the common sense. Even, I mean, this kid must have been very high functioning.
He was very, very high functioning. And the thing is too, like, obviously, like, I'm the first one that I always say nobody makes you do anything.
No.
And he did it because he wanted to. But I 100% believe that his high functioning level of autism clouded his judgment. And he knew that killing was wrong. But that was the only way he was going to be able to be with her, and that's what she wanted. And she wanted.
And that's what they both wanted.
What they both wanted, and that's what she asked him to do, and he would do anything for her.
Yes.
And he was remorseful, and he felt very guilty that he did it, and he didn't. But he even says in an interview that the interview is just when he's being questioned by police, which was a whole other issue, and we'll get into that. I think
I found that interview, and I sent it to her. I can tell you that I was almost in tears.
Yeah.
Watching that interview. And I'm gonna tell you, and we spoke about it right before starting the podcast, and I felt the same way that you did, because I feel like they manipulate him. First he was manipulated by Gypsy into committing the crime, and then he was manipulated by police into confessing and into that woman was asking the questions, and the way that she was
very
telling her,
it was very wrong.
Telling him, you know, if you love her and you don't want to lie, you don't want to lie, and it's almost like
you got to do right by her because you don't want to get her in trouble. And in his mind, he knew what was happening, and he knew that it was wrong, and he knew.
I don't doubt it that he knew.
You know, he knew that it was wrong and all of that stuff. But he had to do it for her. That part of that judgment is completely clouded.
Yes.
That judgment
that would not be clouded on a typical person, on a young adult, because they were.
Don't get me wrong. Yes, she could have been talking to a real murderer, and then that's a different story. But she wasn't. She was talking to a person who she was able to manipulate, and a person who had that issue with judgment and with putting that together.
And why didn't she do it herself?
Oh, well, that's another thing.
Why if you really wanted to get out, you didn't tell anyone. You didn't reach out to anyone.
Right.
You didn't. I mean, yes, your circle was small, but you had a dad, had other people in your life.
Yeah.
You used to go to doctors.
Right.
There was no way that you can kind of
Yeah.
some way somehow.
So this is another issue that I'm having with this. If she was able to get online and find herself a boyfriend and plan a murder, can she get help?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that things were easy for her. Again, I sympathize with this girl. I know that her life was very difficult. I know she was brutally abused. My only, okay, so I'm thinking maybe it was, she did love her mom. And I think that she was probably terrified. Or maybe she didn't think people would believe her. And then her situation would be even worse. Because the last thing you want to do is piss her off. If you know you're being abused.
Well, she does say that the older she got, things were worse with mom.
Right.
Like the way that she treated her and the way that she talked to her, because, it was abuse all around.
All right.
Mental, physical,
I think, and then I think, well, maybe the reason she couldn't come forward was because there was some kind of Stockholm syndrome. Like maybe she, like when you're abducted and you're with this person that abducts you for a long time, you start sympathizing with them. So maybe it was some kind of loyalty or Stockholm syndrome where she couldn't tell.
You knew it was wrong.
But my thing is that if you...
And you went ahead as far as getting into finding this guy.
Yeah.
Talking to him.
And everything, she planned it all. And I'm really struggling with...
I don't know exactly if this is completely true or not.
Right.
I do know that she got the knife.
Yeah. So this is based on interviews, on the police interview when he was being interrogated, and also by whatever we've seen. I've seen a few interviews of hers, and I've seen a few little clips of one of the docuseries. My thing is that if she was able, I'm not saying that it was always easy, and maybe it was Stockholm syndrome, or there was a reason why she couldn't come forward, and obviously she was basically a prisoner, and she couldn't come forward, right? But she found him. If she found him,
and
how could she not? Yeah.
He said in that interview, I don't know if you caught that, that she ordered the knife online.
Well, he said that, and then they asked him, did she buy it on Amazon, or did she? And then he said, well, no. And he goes, no, I think at first he said yes, and then he goes, oh no, wait. He goes, I actually think she bought it at Walmart. He said. So if she was able to, so I saw a clip yesterday of the docuseries, or it's like a documentary, I guess, or a series where obviously it's not Gypsy, it's an actress. I saw a little clip where she goes to a mall, and her mom is she goes to her mom, don't worry, I'll do the shopping. I can do it. I can do it. I'll be right back. And mom is by herself for a little bit, and Gypsy goes and does what she was supposed to go do so that mom could rest or whatever. And obviously this is, I don't know who's telling the story, if this is something that Gypsy told, because obviously they needed to get, I don't know if the documentary got everything right.
She mentioned that in the podcast that I was listening to, that there's a lot of mixed stories.
Right, which could definitely happen. And I think this is why they're in the process of, I don't know if they're doing a new one, or because now she wants to tell her story. Of course she does, and people want to pay her for it, and books and deals and all this other stuff. So,
and money.
So it just doesn't make sense to me that why would she have if she had access to the internet, she had and in the interviews that we saw, she was gaining some access. So according to her, and to even what's on the clips of the episodes of the show, I don't know if the show is correct again, but why didn't she ask for help? Why didn't she instead?
Yeah,
she got somebody else to do that work, to do the dirty work for her.
And not only that, she hid in the bathroom.
Right.
Meaning as in, I'm nowhere near.
Yeah.
what's going on.
Right.
Like there was some major planning on her part
Yes.
of her role
Right.
on all of this.
Right. And now, so it's just weird to me, right? That, because I know that she's a victim too, but it also scares me, I'm not gonna lie, that someone who plotted a murder is out on the street. The only thing she didn't do was hold the knife.
Yeah.
But she plotted the entire thing. And she's the one that's out. But then the one that, through his very likely developmental disability, is in prison for life. The whole thing is so messed up. It's just,
when it first happened, I heard about it and all that
me
stuff.
too, but
I no le hice caso. Pero I didn't even know that Nicholas was autistic.
Right.
And, you know, I'm not defending either or.
Yeah.
Because he should have known better, and maybe he should have asked or talked to somebody else. Right?
Yeah.
About this.
Honestly, I think he was just, if you listen to his interview with, the terrible interview with police, I think that he was so, another thing that a lot of people don't talk about, especially kids, he was also, okay, I'm trying to say it in a way where it's not offensive to anybody. It is also very likely that he was very hyposexual. He's doing all these things with this girl who he's, again, has that cloud judgment and is head over heels over and thinks she's like the best thing in the universe. And he most likely, and I don't know if this has come out, but she was doing things with him that he probably hadn't done before. And I think we can all agree that doing it is good. Doesn't matter your level,
That sex is good.
Yeah, seriously, so that was also probably a huge motivator where he didn't have that.
That's your reward, sex.
I mean, think about it. He was in love with her. He was completely blinded. He would do anything for her. And she was giving him something. And he's never had this before. You know what I mean?
Hello.
What can I tell you?
It's in the interview that I was watching.
That interview is hard. With her.
With her.
Right.
No, the interview with him.
With him is heartbreaking because they're literally even the cop manipulated him.
The cop.
They set him up basically to. They set him up for failure.
Yeah.
You know what though? I'm sorry to interrupt you and cut you off on this really quick because it's about the interview about the cop. If I don't know, do we know anything about his parents or his mom because if I think that this
I'm
might
sure
also,
there is because when I looked up stuff, a bunch of stuff came out, but I don't know if.
I think he said that his mom picked him up at the station or something. Maybe mom didn't know any better, but why was there not an attorney present when he was being interviewed?
Yeah.
Now,
I noticed that too,
I get that maybe he was very high functioning and didn't have a guard. He didn't need guardianship. He was over 18, all that other stuff. But maybe mom didn't feel that he needed guardianship, or maybe he really didn't need it or qualify for it. So that's a whole other different thing. But even if you're not special needs and you're being accused of a crime, honestly, whether I did it or not, the first thing I'm going to say is,
I need a lawyer.
I need a lawyer. I mean, that is your right. And you're able to completely shut your mouth until there's a lawyer present. Until you've already consulted with a lawyer. Is he going to be in jail that night or until somebody comes to see him? Right. Yes.
Yeah.
But why was he being questioned with... Now, this is probably because mom didn't know any better. his parents probably didn't know any better, or whoever was, close to him didn't know any better. But if one of my children are being accused of a crime or being in an interrogation room, the first thing I would tell my child
Si no estoy ahí,
is if I'm not in there, cause it's tricky because they might not allow you in there as an adult.
No, pero
if your child is an
pero
adult.
Tú sabes que nosotros no vamos a decir, what?
No, yeah. But if there should have been an attorney present, he should have already been, speaking to an attorney. The first thing I would say, whether I committed a crime or not, is I want a lawyer. I refuse to answer questions in the grounds that it may incriminate me. That's it. That is his.
And they have to stop him and wait.
Right. That is his right. So his Fifth Amendment right. There's reasons for that. So.
Yep.
That's another thing,
With her, one of the things, and here we go again with the cloud judgment, and with this is both of them, right? When they're cleaning up the scene, they didn't do a good job.
Of course,
and the murder weapon, the knife, they mailed it.
Yeah.
To his house.
Right.
So in their mind, there's no weapon there. But then they mail it to their house. To his house.
Did he say, because I missed that part, did he say whose idea that was?
No.
To send it back? To send it to his house? I'm not sure. I wonder.
She was the mastermind in the whole thing. Okay? And I'm sure if she didn't think that was a good idea, it was his idea, and she didn't think, she would have changed it some way, somehow.
Yeah.
But they both.
Yeah.
And again, we go back to the same thing. She is not well.
No.
He's not well.
No.
She's not well.
No.
And I think they should have been treated
as for what they are.
Exactly.
Treat their mental issues and not throw her in jail for, well, she only served 10 years, but throw her in jail and then him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
Like, the whole thing is so messed up. And now, so this video, we wanted to talk about this case because it's so hot right now, but also it goes back to how people on the autism spectrum or in general with any type of mental health issue or anything where may again cloud the judgment of this person, they may be taken advantage of, and how vigilant we need to be of those things, because this can really happen to anybody that has a child on the spectrum or with any other type of developmental disability.
And with that said, one of the main things that, and I'm sure a lot of parents that may see this, they're gonna agree, we worry about sexual abuse.
Yeah.
Right? About, him not knowing, your child, whether it's a girl or boy, them not knowing how to tell you that somebody's touching them the wrong way.
Right.
Or doing something, right? So those are one of our first concerns when they're small.
Yeah.
Leaving your child with somebody else.
Right.
That may not do the right thing by them, right?
Right.
We even saw that video of the lady of the therapy center.
Oh yes.
I forgot where it was. It's not here in Florida.
No, it was not here in Florida. I believe it was in California, where a therapist was sexually abusing a client.
Exactly. And then she figured it out. And it was a whole thing, and she made a video and putting them out there and all of that. Yeah. So, yes, those are one of our first concerns when we leave our child with somebody else, right? But then as they grow older,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's still a concern.
Right.
But there are other things that come into play. And
Right.
this is one of them.
Yeah.
Anybody can tell them, hey, go do this. And they'll be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
They won't question it.
Right.
They don't see the consequences after that.
No.
They don't see,
Right.
they see the here and the now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of our kids are just...
Mm-hmm.
That's why all of us parents say that we want to, live
forever.
forever.
Right.
Because we wish that we could keep them in a cocoon and just,
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And this can happen at any time, whether they're 5 years old or they're 30.
Yeah.
So, and I just feel like this is draining me, actually.
It really is.
This is draining me because it mentally, I mean, us parents, we worry.
I know that, like, when I messaged you,
about
we were talking about it through message, and you were like, "What? He's on the spectrum?" And then we started doing research.
Yeah, because she's the one that told me. I didn't know he was in the spectrum. I knew about the case.
I knew about the case very little. I knew that she had defrauded everybody, and that at the end, and that there was documentaries coming out or movies about her, and then she ended up serving time in prison for it. That I knew, but I didn't know it was such a huge thing now when she was getting out, and then I'm on like social media and I'm seeing the comments and people are saying, can we please stop? Yes, she's been through a lot. Yes, she was abused, but some of the comments were like, but can we stop glorifying murder? And and then one person said, as a person who has, as a mom of a child on the autism spectrum, it breaks my heart that this kid, is going to spend his entire life in prison.
And not only that, can you imagine what life he's living in prison?
Right.
Because there's also stories in there, and you don't know what happens in prison.
Sure. Oh yeah.
And a good percentage of people that are autistic and end up in jail, they get raped left
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
right.
Yeah. I think that so many things went wrong, and Gypsy was failed.
Yes,
he was failed as well.
And I feel like other people should be accountable.
Absolutely. And I feel like he was also failed probably by the system, because he might have not been getting the care that he needed, and he should have had an attorney present. He should have had guidance.
And you think about that. He traveled.
Right.
Yeah, she dropped him off and she picked him up, but why the mom let him?
I don't know.
Go see her in the first. It's just so many things.
I don't know.
mean, I see.
Well,
this.
I think it's just that too, that he was very high functioning. He was.
Yes, you
he
want
was.
your
I
child
think
to
he
be-
was over 18. So I think I don't know. I want to get the facts straight because I don't know enough about it, but
I'm not gonna tie Angel to a bed, but I'm gonna lock him and not have
for
him,
real.
People don't tell me, oh my God, she said that. No, you know what I mean. It's jokingly,
Yes.
okay? But you feel like, no, seriously, you feel like you wanna just have him in your house. Don't, because you never.
Yesterday,
know.
I saw her husband come out, and because her husband's like
Oh
everywhere.
my God!
And can we talk about the weirdness of him? Like, clearly, he's not all that right there either.
And how much does he?
Can we talk about? Now I know that this is we're talking about this case not just because it's hot topic right now, but because how messed up it is, but also because we said we wanted to talk about how our kids can be manipulated. But can we say about how much? I know where you were gonna go. Her husband looks exactly like her mother. I was like, what the hell? And somebody put in the comments on like Facebook, I was reading, somebody put, maybe her mother's faking her own death so she could keep taking more government benefits. I was like, they're pretending to be her husband. Or maybe she had a sex change.
Qué horror.
Dude, it is the weirdest thing. And I'm seeing it all over the place. Other people are catching on. I don't know if that's, again, some kind of a condition that she has. The man, they did a side-by-side on one of the...
I haven't seen that one.
A side-by-side
of the real... kind of like...
Of the real Dee Dee Blanchard and her husband, Nick. There's a resemblance. A big resemblance. Like, they look like probably siblings or family. Like, they really look alike. It's so weird.
And tell me about her being engaged and having relationships.
Yeah.
While in prison.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that?
She's really...
That, and the way she talks.
Yeah.
I mean,
she's not
if you guys have, look it up and see her
she's
interviews.
Definitely not okay.
And she, to me, there's really not remorse.
No. Well, there's no remorse, and also, and then she said on
and it's almost like she says the right things at the right time. It's almost like rehearsed.
Yeah. No, and not only that, one thing that I noticed yesterday is she said yesterday on one of, well, I don't know if it was yesterday or a few days ago, on one of the shows that she was on, I think it was in The View, she says, what I do want to say is that, even if you find yourself in the situations like I was in, there's always another way out. What I did was not okay, and there's always another way out. Bitch, then why didn't you do that? Like, no, duh, that's what I've been saying all along. There was a way out.
Exactly.
I'm not undermining what she went through.
No.
By any means.
By any means. I mean, she was abused.
She was terrified. And,
yes.
But if you know that there was other ways, why didn't you seek those other ways? Again, like we've said a bunch of times.
Even go as far as killing her.
Wow. Because...
Well...
She wasn't going to do it. Somebody was going to do it for her.
I don't know.
So yesterday, what I was going to say is, I saw a clip where her husband came out on one of these like shows that they were on. And her husband goes, people say that she manipulated, Nicholas. She did not manipulate him. She was the one that was manipulated. And I'm like, oh yeah, because you were there. You were there. What do you know? You're probably just going to be another victim.
Exactly.
The whole thing is just...
And yes, it's easy for us to
judge and say
that.
Yeah.
But if you see how everything panned out, one thing after the other, if you went as far as, getting your boyfriend to do it for you, they could have been other ways.
Right.
And right now, as you said, she says that so if
that's
you knew not the right way, then
why did you go that route? Like,
and she said, I just wanted out, and I didn't know. I knew she was gonna come back for me if I went another way, or something like that. She said. I'm like,
yeah, she knew, but didn't know enough to do it herself.
See, no. So, guys,
So, case in point. Be vigilant.
Yeah.
Even if you have an adult child, even if you are not the legal guardian because you can't do guardianship, or maybe your child is too high functioning, or doesn't, I don't know, whatever the case is, we need to be very vigilant. And for those of us that have that fear of our kids being manipulated or in any kind of way, those fears are valid. Like, this is exactly why. And to those who don't have those fears, or think that these things, that you do have a kid with special needs or with some kind of developmental disability, and you don't think these things can happen, you know, still think about what if something like this were to happen. How would your child react if your adult child? And just be vigilant, you know. Even if he was super high functioning and maybe didn't need mom there all the time or whatever, I feel like his mom should have
been more,
at least made sure that he had an attorney present, that he didn't answer any questions. And again, I don't know too much about the case, and maybe this did happen, so I apologize for any misinformation that we may spread, but what if...
And we're sharing our
views. So this is our views.
Our views on what we have seen.
What we have seen and what we know. So let's say that... So what we've been told, or what I heard, was that he was seen by physicians, and they did conclude that it wasn't insanity, or that they did conclude that he was okay to like stand trial and be, you know, tried as a neurotypical person and all of that. Even that, you know, if his mother did know that there was a diagnosis and that maybe he would have an issue with making the right decisions, maybe somebody could have, I don't know if this took place, but how many people evaluated him? You know, in a lot of cases, you'll have other medical experts come in. You'll have, now I don't know, I didn't follow the trial, I don't know if this was a thing, but did other people evaluate him? Did they have an independent team of doctors come in? Or was it only the ones that were appointed by the court? Who appointed them? Like, you know, was there no medical records on his diagnosis to collaborate it? I just don't know. These are all like answers that I don't know the answer to them. I guess I have to do some research on it. But
all around, this case was not... It's too difficult, and it was not handled.
No,
well,
it just wasn't.
The case, even the abuse from the beginning,
from the very beginning. Yeah.
Where are those doctors? I mean, I feel like those doctors need to be accountable.
Yeah.
You know, you could kind of fool once, fool twice, but I mean, and yes, she moved around a lot, but I mean, come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
How can you do all these procedures, all these things to this kid, and nobody question it?
Right.
No one questioned it. And she kept on, and if it was not this diagnosis, it was that one. It was
right.
I mean, it was almost like a coin toss.
Yeah.
Today is gonna be cancer.
Yeah.
You know, tú sabes. Come on. And actually getting benefits and getting donations and getting things. Ay, Dios mío.
So she's out of prison, but there's no winners in this case. There are just no, woman is dead.
I mean,
who probably should have been in a mental institution.
She's winning.
I guess she is, right? Until her next victim.
Ay, Dios mío.
I mean,
Jesús por Dios. El pobre hombre que se casó con ella.
Yeah. I mean, a woman is dead. A horrible woman. But if she
But I don't think that would have been the answer.
Would have been the answer. She should have been institutionalized.
Yeah.
She should have been institutionalized. And maybe she could have even served time, because she did. I mean, it really depends on her medical diagnosis, right? Because she did abuse her daughter greatly and took advantage of a lot of people and manipulated a lot of people.
Right.
So many
parents.
Yeah.
We all worry, and our worries are valid.
Yep.
Unfortunately, people take advantage. Unfortunately, people do the wrong stuff. But
for those that have kids that are higher functioning, the best thing you do is, as a parent, is continue to teach them right from wrong to their level.
Talk to them.
Yeah. And talk to them and talk to them
and keep on
talking to them. But be very vigilant of what they're doing at all times. And obviously, you got to teach them right from wrong, but also
if you have to step in.
Yeah.
certain situations,
Right.
if you see, I mean, no matter how much I want Angel to be independent,
Yes.
if I see something
Something
going
that
on,
you feel that is off, you're gonna jump in.
you better
Right.
believe
Of course.
that I'm gonna be like, who are you?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Right.
Que, I'm
Absolutely.
gonna be all over it.
Yeah.
All over it.
Yeah.
Like white on rice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
So
guys.
with that, we're gonna end this here. Don't forget.
I'm like in a
What?
kind of drained.
Yeah. Like this was
Like
draining.
this is mentally
Yeah, it was.
thinking about this and
It was. And I'm at the point where like I don't even want to like I open social media and there she is again and it's like it's
and when she told me about her, I go, who? Because I was like totally.
yeah.
Y yo la había visto.
Yeah.
Pero
you
no,
probably just didn't connect.
I
And I'm
kept on
sure now
scrolling.
after you've probably seen her 100 times like constantly.
Por todos
Por
lados.
todos lados. Yeah. Yeah, she's everywhere. She's posing at red carpets and
That's outrageous. So.
but
I don't know. I don't know what message people think they're giving out there, but this kid, she's not a kid anymore. I think she's like 30 something. In her 30s.
was she? Is she 37? When did this happen? She was 19, right? I believe.
She was, sí, algo así.
And that was probably what, like 10 years ago?
7.
So, well, she served 7 years, but I don't know how long trial took and all that stuff.
I think it was a year. I think this happened 2015.
Oh, was it?
She
Okay.
was sentenced 2016,
Uh-huh.
and she was out this
So, yeah, she
December, this
wasn't-
past December in 2023.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This
Some
just-
people don't kill somebody and they do that long. Let's be real.
Y le da muchas ideas a otra gente. That's another thing.
Like, you mean I can plot a murder and be out in 7
You mean... Espérate, hold on. ¿Qué?
That's... God. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, ay, Dios mío. I can't. I'm beside myself. I want to say so much more, but
Yeah. But...
I mean, again, it seems like we're just sitting here, judging and all that. But here's the thing.
No, I mean, that's what we do.
Well, yeah.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, well. Pero the thing is that this is so wrong in so many different levels. And yes, she was a victim, but then she took advantage of somebody else also. Being a victim.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just pretty sad.
Yeah. All around.
So guys, you know how to get us. SpectrumMamis all around.
Yeah.
We're in Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And you could get us on Spotify and Audible and Apple and all that good stuff. Everywhere.
Yeah.
We're everywhere.
Yep.
And again, we're here to inform, inspire, and support. Every Friday, a new episode. See you then.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.